Hey everyone, how's it going? Adam, aka Cincy Flipper here. Just thought I'd take a quick video and kind of go over some things I sold before I started recording my reselling, tell you about the items, my knowledge base on the items, kind of just show you what I do. So these are kind of I think I have 8 pulled up for you today, 8 or 9 things that I found probably most interesting that I've sold. These have all been within the last 90 days, and they've all been from thrift stores, donated to me, but I'll go over that in the video. Let's go see. All right, so the first thing I have pulled up here is a Wilson Hyper Hammer 4.0 tennis racket. Sporting goods can be very lucrative if you know what to look for. I played tennis in high school, so you look for lightweight, carbon fiber, and the main brands on tennis rackets. So Babolat, Wilson, Ping, or not Ping, Ping's Golf. But sporting goods can be very good. So do your research and you can make a ton of money. This cost me $2 at St. Vincent de Paul. Sold this for $27.99 and it sold in about 2 days. Next we have this Sony PS4. So it was system only, no cords, no controller, everything. This sold for $135 and sold very quickly. So the way I got this one was I had a bundle pop up on OfferUp where it was 2 PS4s not working, $50. And it was about 30 seconds away from me. So I messaged a guy saying, hey, I can pick these up right now. Because I have a background. My main job is I'm an IT repair tech. But I specialize in hardware repairs. So I can I fix video game consoles, iPhones, computers, whatever. So I figure $50. Worst case, I can sell these for parts. Turned out both systems only needed a firmware update to get working. So I got 2 working PS4s, took about a half hour to get the firmware updated, kept one for myself, and then sold this one ended up selling for the asking price of $134.99. So if you know how to fix things, sometimes buying broken things, fixing them can make you a good amount of money. So next up, I picked this tip up from Cincy Picker, luxury car floor mats. It's never something I thought I would sell, but I saw these were $15 at St. Vincent de Paul. I've had these for about 3 months because it's very particular. You can see where it's for that specific car model only, the QX80. I knew the buyer market was gonna be very limited, but they didn't take up too much room. They rolled up pretty small, and the profit margin was huge on these. These sold, like I said, a couple months later. I originally had them listed about $149, dropped them down, dropped them down, dropped them down. They ended up selling for about $115 and then plus shipping. So good get on that one. It was something I had no knowledge about until I saw John pick up, I think it was a pair of Cadillac floor mats at a yard sale. So I've kept my eye out for that and it paid off. Next up, I have a lot of just iPhone parts. So before I went into reselling, I basically would just buy lots of iPhones and tablets and stuff and try to fix them up and sell those. Didn't make quite as much money, but it was a fun hobby and it definitely got me the skills that I needed to be able to, I can go to a yard sale and if someone has a phone or if I find one on eBay, I can buy it, fix it, and sell it. This was just my leftover scrap pile. So it was just housings, broken screens, batteries, all kinds of iPhone stuff. I threw this up on auction because I had already basically made my money back on it. So just looking to get rid of everything. So this sold for $62 and it was just stuff I had laying around, wasn't going to use, extra housing, stuff like that. So just using my spare parts got me a little bit of profit as well. All right, so you guys saw me pick these up. These are those Air Jordans that I found at Salvation Army on that really quick trip. Got these for $3 because it was their sticker of the day. Now they are used, they're kid size, so that devalued them a little bit, but these sold within a couple of hours. I had them listed at $99.99 because that was about what they were selling for. They were selling for a little bit more, but where these weren't in the greatest of condition, there was some scuffing, the bottoms. You see the soles were kind of worn out, and then the bottoms were pretty dirty, but I didn't really have the time or know how to clean them properly. So I ended up accepting a best offer of $90 on these within 2 days, but turned $3 into about $85 after fees. It's a great pickup. I don't do too many clothes and shoes, but Jordans and soccer jerseys are 2 of the main things I really like to sell because, one, the Jordans make a lot of money and I really like the shoes. They look nice, and I love soccer jerseys, so I know what to look for. But this was a great little money maker right here. Okay, so this is definitely one of the funniest things that I've bought that turned out to be worth a ton of money. This was at Salvation Army. They had a bunch of pops in their glass case. I asked to see them. This one was marked $25. So I'm like, okay, what's the big deal with this one? So I looked it up. Sold comps were, I could only find in-box pops, but in-box they were selling for $200 and $300. So this one was box only, but it's in very, very good condition. So I knew someone was going to pay up for this. You could only get this with the WWE 2K15 pop edition or fan edition of the game, which cost like $300 or $400, but it came with this figure. So that made the figure very valuable to pop collectors. Personally, I like pops. If it's a character I like and I find it at a thrift store for like a quarter or something, I'll keep it. But I think pops are going to go the way of Beanie Babies, where the market's just going to be destroyed and their value is just going to go down. But for now, if they're worth money, I'll flip them. So this ended up selling. I took a best offer of $100 even on this. And that was a nice little money maker there on something that you would not expect a pop to sell for $100, but it did. All right, getting towards the end here. So this is an Asus motherboard. Now, I have a couple people, I put message on Facebook. I take electronic or computer TVs, I take e-waste. I'll break down the parts that I can sell or that I could use for another project, use them, sell them, and then recycle the rest. This came in a computer that I had donated. It was a working motherboard with a processor already attached. Usually I would sell the processor separate, but it wasn't really worth it for me to do that. So sold this, and it sold in under an hour for $49.99. No RAM or anything like that. But that's another good way. If you tell people what you do, people will just bring you stuff, which is the best way to resell. Someone brings it for you, and it's free. You can't really get much better than that. But that draws back again to my background of IT knowledge and just knowing what sells. Got this for free and turned it into $50. So this next one's really good. I was going through the Nextdoor app, which if you don't know, Nextdoor is kind of like social media for your immediate neighborhood. And they have a classified section. I've never really found anything on here except for this. Person had a listing, just said sports games, $5 each. Like, okay, so I clicked on it, and the first two videos, like Madden 10, Madden 12, NCAA basketball 06. I'm like, okay, it's just gonna be garbage. And then the very last picture on there was this, a disc-only copy of NCAA Football 14. So of course I shot them a message right away, said, hey, is this still available? I'd like to come get it. Where are you located? And said, okay, great, yes, it's still available. And I'm in Northern Kentucky. Something happened that day, I actually couldn't get to Northern Kentucky, so I said, hey, if I pay you $10 instead of $5, would you ship it to me? And she said, yeah, that's no problem at all. So PayPal her $10. 3 days later, this showed up in the mail. Threw it up on eBay, and it sold. I think this took about 2 weeks. Disc only, it's not as desirable. But this sold for, I took a best offer of $80 since I only had 10 in it. But that's just broadening. Make sure you're using Facebook Marketplace. OfferUp is still alive. There's not much on there since they merged, but you can find stuff on there. Like I found that PS4 earlier. And then try Nextdoor. I've only ever bought one thing off there, but it worked out really well. And then this last item, guys, this is probably my best score ever. So I got this using the strategy from Chase and Phoenix Resale, where you see yard sale postings, you message them saying, hey, I'm looking for video games. Do you happen to have any? 90% of the time, you don't get any response, or you get a no. 8% of the time, you get back, yeah, and it's Madden 18, FIFA 18, just their kids' old games that they don't want anymore, and they still want $20-$30 for them. But then that 1 to 2% of the time, you get back stuff like this. Lady messaged me back, yeah, I have a PlayStation 2 and some games. She sent me a picture of them. There was a list, it was about 10 games, and then the fat PS2 with 2 controllers. It's like, okay, cool, yeah, I'd be interested. How much would you want for that? So I'm gonna ask $25 for it. I said, great, because at that time I didn't have a PS2 and I needed one to test games. So $25, worst case, I throw, because the games themselves didn't look like much. So I figured, great, $25, I get a console, I get some games to add to the collection. She said, okay, great, I'll put it to the side for you. I go there right at opening the next day, tell her my name. She said, okay, yeah, here you go. And I look in the bag and I see 3 of the games are still sealed. I see one of them is this, Manhunt, the Black Label Edition. So Manhunt was the Black Label was actually a recalled game. So the red label is available, but they went back and changed it from the original version, which that's what this is and makes it so valuable. Also, the fact that it's a vintage PS2 game still sealed. That is a huge collection piece. So I paid her the money and ran. I had this listed for $220. I ended up taking a best offer of $203 on this. So that just goes to show I spent $25 on this and got a console. The console was supposed to be the big part of money on that. But then the other games in there I kept for myself because I like sealed games. But this is probably my greatest find ever. And it's all from just asking for video games. But that's going to do it for now, guys. Thank you for kind of diving into the journey that I had before I started recording my sales. Kind of show you what I'm into, what I do. And until next time, you guys, keep on hunting.